Welcome back as we resume our series on the women of the Hispanic Society. The next sequence of videos for the season will relay the stories of women who were some of the Hispanic Society's first members and who contributed to our understanding of the collection. While some of these women were employees of the Society, others were scholars who maintained close professional ties with the Society's founder, Archer Huntington. The following presentation will follow the life of Isabel Keith Macdermott, who worked as Curator of Publications during the early 20th century. Macdermott was one of the first employees of the Hispanic Society's library, and her letters, publications, and correspondence will help us tell her story. The list of women whose contributions can be directly traced to the Hispanic Society of America since its founding, even before then, is interminable. It is well known that Archer Huntington held a strong friendship with Isabella Stewart Gardner, who, like him, was known for her philanthropy and for being both a great collector and a patron of the arts. So contagious was Huntington's passion for Hispanic culture that his influence is visible in Gardner's art collection and can even be seen in the design of some of the gallery rooms that Isabella founded in Boston. Between 1911 and 1924, Gardner served as a member of the Hispanic Society's advisory board. Many of the women involved with the Hispanic Society came from diverse fields within art and culture and were named members of the Hispanic Society early on, such as the writers Emilia Pardo Bazán, member of the Hispanic Society since 1913, Concha Espina, to whom Huntington dedicated one of his poems and which he named vice president of the Hispanic Society in 1943, and the notable Latin American writer, the Chilean Gabriela Mistral. Among the academics should be mentioned the historian and mathematician Alice Bache Gold, Carolina Micaeles de Vasconcelos, the notable archaeologist Celia Nuttall, whose work on the Mesoamerican Codex Xuxh-Nuttall earned her name a place in its title, and the Spanish pedagogist Maria de Mestu, a driving force of education for women, especially at the university level. Huntington, as on many other occasions, sponsored her visits to the U.S., where Mestu spoke at conferences and taught courses at the most important universities in the country. Among the visual artists can be mentioned the painter Marion Boyd Allen, creator of Anna von Hyatt's portrait, and also the sculptors Janet Scudder and Abyssinius St. Ledger Eberly, whose work is exhibited at Brook Green Gardens, another of Huntington's cultural organizations. Many of these figures contributed to the story on the rights of women and often took on pioneering roles within their fields of expertise. Many of them enjoyed the benefit of having the financial support of the Hispanic Society and had at their disposition the extraordinary resources within its library. This support was in some cases essential to move their professional careers forward. This assistance was reciprocated, however, because these enterprising women contributed to the prestige of the Hispanic Society, enriching and advancing in the understanding of the collection itself. Isabel Keith Macdermott was a critical figure in the Hispanic Society's early history. The earliest indication of Macdermott's association with the Hispanic Society appears in written form, as a letter dated February of 1908, only 1 month after the official opening of the institution. The letter from the Hispanic Society is in response to Macdermott's request for employment. In it, Huntington acknowledges Macdermott's excellent resume, but apologizes for not yet having created the position for which the editor was offering her services. It seems that Huntington did not forget his words, nor did Macdermott her desire to work at the Hispanic Society, because she was hired almost 10 years later when the work and needs of the library became further defined. Born in Staffordshire, England, she emigrated with her family to the town of Trenton, New Jersey, in the United States. Educated in various European cities, including 1 year at the University of Cambridge, she left for Chile soon after graduating and worked as a professor in Santiago College. She traveled extensively throughout the country, coming into direct contact with the culture and language of which she became an expert. Upon her return to the United States, and before being named Curator of Publications at the Hispanic Society, she worked as an editor at important publishing companies, such as those of D. Appleton Century Company and D.C. Heath & Company, occupying chief positions in both the Department of Spanish and the Department of Latin America. As an author, she wrote textbooks dedicated to the teaching and learning of the Spanish language, aimed at both students and professors. Since her young adulthood, Macdermott was an avid traveler, and her membership in the Society of Women Geographers comes as no surprise. Since her youth, she was interested in Latin America and in the study of the Spanish language. She lived in numerous countries of the American continents, such as Puerto Rico, Chile, Mexico, Peru, and Cuba, but was also in Europe on multiple occasions and visited regions that were less popular among tourists due to their geographic location, such as the Canary Islands in Spain or the Portuguese Azores. Macdermott's travel repertoire also includes a fondness for mountains, as she holds an impressive record as a mountain climber. She scaled the Popocatépetl volcano, climbed part of the Aconcagua, and traversed various mountains in the United States and Canada. On horseback, she traveled from Puerto Montt in Chile to Chacabuco in Argentina, crossing the lakes of Yanquihue and Nahuel Huapi. Her time at the Hispanic Society, although short-lived when compared to the rest of the employees, was productive and important. Macdermott was an active member of the Society for many years, beginning in 1917. She was employed by the Hispanic Society as Curator of Publications, in which she recommended books and works of research she considered indispensable for the library, and which were later acquired by the Hispanic Society. She was in charge of editing and revising texts that were published by the Hispanic Society, and as coordinator of these publications, she maintained direct contact with those in academia, and with writers and Hispanists linked to the Hispanic Society, like Blasco Ibáñez and the editor Raymond Fulché del Bosque, with whom she revised a critical edition of Don Quixote. Her role also included the administration of loans and acquisitions from both the Society's publications as well as those sent by other cultural institutions and specific journals. Her written correspondence with the Hispanic Society librarian, E.C. Hills, demonstrates the volume of work she undertook. Her work in the Department of Publications was so important that Georgiana Goddard King, an art historian to be discussed at a later date, sang words of praise for Macdermott's labor over the publication of her own work, titled The Way of St. James, edited by the Hispanic Society in 3 volumes. In a letter, Goddard King thanks Macdermott for her vigilant oversight in ensuring that Spanish spellings and accents are in accordance with the rules of the Spanish Academy. The Art of Spain and the Hispanic Society's collection made a grand impression on Macdermott that put into motion her, until now, little-known artistic talent, resulting in a splendid watercolor copy of a work by the Spanish artist Mariano Fortuny. After Macdermott left the Hispanic Society, she was named managing editor of the bulletin published by Pan American Union, an organization of which she was also a member. Her role consisted of supervising not only the English edition, but also the Spanish and Portuguese versions of the publication, in addition to staying abreast of cultural and political events in Latin America. As an active feminist, she was concerned about the status of women, and she became a voice for the problems faced by women in those countries. In 1929, she left her post for health reasons and joined the board at Santiago College, where she had previously worked as a professor. Isabel Keith Macdermott remains one of many women whose life and work left a valuable footprint in the history of the museum and library. We hope you enjoyed this presentation. Please join us next time as we continue to learn about the lives of those who helped shape the Hispanic Society.